Have you ever wondered what it would be like if Einstein, Steve Jobs, and your child's brain had a party? Welcome to the Neuroquirky Nexus, where we celebrate the extraordinary minds of our neurodiverse children. Welcome to you amazing parents and caregivers to this podcast. Here we are going to navigate the colorful world of neurodiversity, and we're going to explore holistic, out-of-the-box solutions for children and teens with ADHD, stress, anxiety, and other neuroquirks. Each week we'll dive into practical, brain-based techniques and quirky strategies to help your child thrive. I'm Lori Bloyer, a former veteran teacher turned holistic neurogrowth, learning, and life success coach. As a parent of a neurodiverse child myself, I've spent the last 20 years researching, experimenting, and developing unconventional approaches to support these unique minds. I myself have ADHD diagnosed later in life, and thank goodness, now I understand some of my neuroquirks, and I am going to give you, from my years of teaching in the classroom, my son and myself, several tips, tricks, strategies to help you and your child thrive and create peace at home and joy in your life. So, are you ready? Let's get quirky. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Neuroquirky Nexus. So delighted you're here, and especially in this topic today that we're talking about. It's an important one, and it's an important one right now, especially with the viral TV show Adolescence that everyone's been talking about, and social media. Today we're going to talk about navigating social media and helping your neurodiverse teens stay safe and connected. So, hi everyone, I'm Lori Bloyer, your host of the Neuroquirky Nexus, and today we're tackling that huge topic, social media and neurodiverse teens. Social media can be a great tool for connection, creativity, and learning, but for our neurodiverse teens, especially those with ADHD and autism, it can also be a minefield of challenges, from social misunderstandings to time management struggles. Today, we're breaking down how social media affects neurodiverse teens, ways to set healthy boundaries, and how to teach critical digital literacy skills. Plus, we'll talk about the viral show Adolescence and what parents can learn from it. Let's dive in. Okay. So let's understand social media and its impact on our neurodiverse teens, and I should even say tweens, and even as young as 8-year-olds that are having a very challenging time and not seeing opportunities other than to harm themselves or worse. So we've got to get a handle on this social media. We really do. Such an important episode today. Friends, please share with someone that might need to hear this. As teens and young children, I won't even call them tweens now, are not seeing options, and social media is becoming their teacher, their parent, their best friend, and everything they're learning is coming from social media. At least most of the lessons that we probably don't want them learning are coming from social media. Okay. Social media isn't just about posting pictures or sharing memes anymore, right? It's a whole new social world. It has its own rules that us older folk might not know, and it has its own expectations and, of course, challenges. For neurodiverse teens and younger, this can be both a blessing and a struggle. Some of the challenges that your child might have is reading between the lines. Many social interactions on social media rely on implied meanings, sarcasm, or those emojis. This can be tricky for teens who struggle with interpreting social cues. It also could lead to hyperfocus and overuse, right? ADHD brains are wired to latch onto anything that's engaging, right? That content that's engaging, making it easy to lose track of time by scrolling or playing games. Or even following up with those pictures. And emotional regulation, one negative comment can feel like the end of the world. Having your whole life displayed in front of you is something us older folk don't know what it's like to have all of your embarrassing moments laid out in front of you. So even just one can be the end of the world. A viral post can create incredible unhealthy dopamine rush. And likewise, the games and whatnot create another dopamine rush. But there are some benefits, actually, like finding similarly minded communities and interests, exploring things that they might not have available in their immediate community, being able to show off their art, music, writing, gaming. And they're also learning social norms in a lower pressure setting compared to in-person interactions. And I know for my dyslexic son and other dyslexics, it's also nice to communicate by using voice to text or text to voice so that they can communicate still, but using the tools to help them. So that's also another wonderful addition to help with communication in a lower pressure setting. So how do we balance the risks and the benefits, though? Let's talk about setting up healthy guidelines. So one of the best ways to support neurodiverse teens online is by teaching them how to navigate social media responsibly rather than, just banning it completely outright, right? We need to teach them how to use it responsibly. Here are a few key strategies. Why don't you talk about the 3-question rule before posting? This is a great one for us adults as well. So you could teach your teens and younger to ask themselves, would I say this in person? How would I feel if someone said this to me, right? Practicing that empathy. Yes, I know sometimes it's hard, but practicing empathy and teaching empathy, this is a great lesson. And is this helpful, kind, or necessary? So those are the 3 questions that are great for all of us, actually, to think about as before we're posting. Would I say this in person? How would I feel if someone said this to me? Empathy. And is this helpful, kind, or necessary? So pause before you post, right? Many teens and younger with ADHD struggle with impulsivity. Encourage them to take a deep breath, reread their message, think about those questions, think about possible consequences before hitting send. Really try to rein in that impulsivity and really try to gradually give them social media independence. Instead of unrestricted access, try a tiered approach. You could start with family-friendly platforms, introduce more independence as they demonstrate responsible usage. There are parent tracking tools. You guys are, I'm sure, all familiar with all of those tools. If not, please let me know, and I'd be happy to share a lot of resources and tools if you aren't sure about parent tracking and monitoring tools that will help you tier their access to some of the platforms that are out there, which may have been innocent when we started, our generation or other generations, but now are not so innocent. And there's a lot of scams and a lot of things that children do not know about that are absolutely essential to teach them about. All right. Also, talking about those platforms, it's important to think about and identify which platforms and communities are supportive and positive versus those that may increase stress and negativity. It's also really good to think about the scams that, like I said, that are going out there, having to do with pictures, right? And really opening up that communication for the scams and the pictures. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's encourage digital literacy and critical thinking skills. Let's talk about that now. In a world full of viral trends, misinformation, online pressure, teaching digital literacy is more important than ever. And here's how to start. Really start thinking about those scams, right? That I was talking about earlier. You want to spot fake news and scams. You want to teach children to question headlines, check sources, and verify facts. And really, it's important because who they are talking to probably isn't who they are talking to, right? So women or scammers posing as young women asking for photos, or young men asking for photos, either way. Teach them about anything that's not normal. Nobody should be asking for addresses, personal information, ages, parents' names. Nothing should be disclosed online that doesn't seem normal. No photos should be shared unless they're safe, right? Nothing that's controversial. And you could even role play scenarios so that they start to feel comfortable to come talk to you if they feel like they're a victim of a scam. That's the sad thing, is some of these kids are not seeing that option to go talk to their parents if they are a victim of a scam. And we need to practice role playing so they do feel comfortable if that situation were to happen to them. And so talking about requests that don't seem normal, headlines that are weird, facts that don't seem right. So checking those before reacting and spreading false news themselves. And again, with AI, the videos are getting harder and harder to track. And so even teaching them some secrets, again, I can put that in resources if you would like, secrets about how to track what an AI video looks like or an AI photo might be. And also teaching them the permanency of their choices, because once something's put online, it's online forever. Their digital footprint is huge. It will stay there forever. And if they think it's not because they deleted it, nope, it's there. Somebody has probably already saved it and shared it 100 times before they could hit delete. So teaching them about the permanency is really also very important, along with the fake photos and fake videos. Okay. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard for anyone, for adults and kids and our neurodiverse kids, to manage social media these days. It really is. And parents, you have to be vigilant. You have to check and teach. You want to be a better teacher than social media, please. We want you to be a better teacher. Okay. So algorithms. Let's talk about algorithms, a set of instructions. But algorithms, when they look at something, they will be fed more of that thing. So even if they quickly glance at a photo that's not appropriate, the algorithm will start to feed them more of that. So this is a challenging time when algorithms are really, and we all know this from our scrolls, right? We get fed more of what we look at. We all know this is true. So we need to teach them that what they engage with is what they'll be shown. They need to avoid engaging with the things that are not healthy for them. Let's put it that way. Mentally healthy, emotionally healthy, right? And maybe they want to follow different viewpoints, to think about critical thinking, to really develop critical thinking. And then we come to conflict, right? How are we going to handle if there is some online conflict? Definitely they should talk to you, as we've talked about. That open communication really needs to happen. Or with a school counselor or a school social worker, if that's happening at school. So role playing with them would be very helpful. What would you do if a friend posted something upsetting? Like, ask them, role play with them. Like, what would you do? And don't just say, oh, well, I'd tell someone. No, like, act it out so that they can truly get it into their muscle memory, their core, what they would do if something happened. And what we really want them to do is communicate with a trusted adult. And we also need to teach them, though, how to block people, how to mute them, how to step away from negativity and not be part of the system. Because again, this footprint is huge. It goes where you go. You cannot just delete it away. It's there when it's there. So teaching them that, especially if they are getting older and looking for jobs, employers are looking at social media these days. So super important to teach them about what's posted is what's known about them. All right, so let's talk about that viral TV show, Adolescence, and how you can use that. Either watch it first, for sure, but if you want to use it to start that conversation, right? That show has been making waves, right? For a good reason, really. It highlights the real struggles teens face in the digital age. And, of course, their parents. So some takeaways that you can take from that show is that social media isn't just an online space. It's a core part of teens' social lives, right? It really is. Especially as a parent, I think it's really important to learn what those emojis mean that were talked about in the show, and how just even emojis can spark someone's anger, fuel someone's fire, make them truly upset. And in this case, truly upset enough to kill someone. So it's important that you talk about how much social media is part of your kid's life and what the symbols mean and the emojis mean. Because many teens struggle with self-worth, and it really is based on likes and comments and follows, and then the not likes and the mean comments and the unfriend, right? The good and the not so good. So really teens struggle with that. And there's a fine line between connection and comparison. And teens need help navigating it, especially our neurodiverse teens. What is someone truly trying to connect with you and comparing? Right? What's happening in the comments? And is your teen able to read those cues, as we talked about earlier? So you could have some conversations with them if they have watched the show or you chose to have them watch it with you. What do you think about the characters and how they use social media? What do you think is happening with the boys' reactions? Is it something that lives in your school or your friend community? And then, have you ever felt pressured to post or act a certain way online, right? Have you ever felt that pressure? And then maybe talking about good spaces and toxic spaces and good conversations and toxic conversations. And I get it. These are not going to be easy conversations to have, but they're absolutely essential to have because you want your teen or child to come to you when they need help. You don't want them to feel like there's no options or the only option is very unhealthy. So we want to have these conversations and I want to help you. So if you would like more resources or would like me to talk more about this in future episodes, please feel free to let me know. I'm just going to wrap up because I've gone on a while, but I want to just wrap up and give you a call to action here. Social media is here to stay, right? We get that. We don't know what form it's going to turn into or how it's going to progress, but it's here to stay. So with the right guidance, neurodiverse teens, your teen, your child, even yourself, can learn to use it safely, mindfully, and positively. If we really teach them and we have these conversations, they can learn to use it safely, mindfully, positively. So I really hope that you will put yourself out there. This is your call to action, parents. Please put yourself out there. Please have these hard conversations with your teen or your tween or even your child. Have a tiered structure where your children are not seeing those negative comments. And teach them also to be resilient, as I talked about in the previous episode. resilience. They need to learn to have a thick skin and tools and strategies to help them if and when those negative comments come out. It's so very important. So please, I am sending you strength. You can do this, parents. You can have those conversations. It is so important for the life of your child and their friends and their immediate community. We need to be that safe person for them to talk to. Okay, I know it was a little bit of a challenging episode this time, but it's so, so, so important. If it resonated with you or anyone you know, if they need to hear this, if they need some tips or strategies or tools or even more resources, please share this and please let me know if I can help in any way with further talking points or resources. As I said, I'm in your corner. I'm here to help. However, it does start with you, parents. You need to have that hard conversation, but I'm here to back you up however I can. So please share this episode. Come join me in my Facebook group to talk more about it if you'd like. And I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you again for listening all the way through, and I appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and keep embracing your child's magic. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Quirky Nexus. We are so glad you took the time to join us today. I know time is precious, and we are so glad you're here. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. Please don't forget to post your activity using hashtag NeuroNexus. That's NeuroNexus. And of course, all links are in the show notes. And I just really hope you enjoyed it. So if you did, please like and subscribe and share this with a friend. I think this is really good for families that are new to their child being diagnosed with ADHD. And I believe that the tips and tricks and resources I'll be sharing will be very helpful for all families, but especially new families. And finally, I am creating a workshop coming up to help families with ADHD finding and using a holistic, natural approach in support of a book chapter that I'm writing and articles and magazines that are coming out. But my workshop, I'm so excited about because I can work with you all one-on-one. If you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you again. And remember, let's keep it quirky. See you next time.